The sea is too bright to look at. It's day 8. At least that's what Marta thinks. Time stopped meaning much after the first 3 sunsets. The sun hangs directly above their little fiberglass boat like a white burner. Her lips are split and swollen. Every breath tastes like rust and dried salt. When she blinks, her eyelashes scratch, glued together with salt grains. Then she hears it. Thump. A flying fish has thrown itself into the boat. It twitches weakly on the hot floorboards. No one reacts, not because they don't care, because they don't have the energy. Marta forces her hands to move. Her fingers feel like someone else's as she reaches for the fish. Behind her, David's voice is a cracked whisper. "Leave it. I can't." She ignores him. She can't afford that kind of sentence anymore. On the horizon, a dark silhouette appears. A ship. Big. Real. They wave, shout, flash a reflection from a broken phone screen. The ship keeps going. 4 people float in a tiny boat on an endless blue desert, and the world sails past like they don't exist. Marta stares after it and thinks, how long can a human stay alive when no one even knows they're missing? 10 days earlier, this wasn't a survival story. Marta was a 30-year-old tourist from Spain. Office job, normal life. On a dream trip to Southeast Asia with her boyfriend, David. They were staying on a small island off Sabah in Borneo. Postcard water, green hills, sunsets designed for Instagram. At the dock, they met Tommy, the resort owner, and Armella, a young Malaysian employee. Tommy had already done this route 100 times. Short island hopping tour, snorkeling, back before dark. The boat? Small, open, fiberglass. A simple outboard engine. Life jackets stacked in a corner. Marta asked the question everyone asks once. Is it safe? Tommy smiled. Safe. I know these waters. Weather is good. So she pushed away the tiny fear in her chest. That's what we do. We trust experience, uniforms, confidence. The boat left the dock. The sea was calm. The sky was clear. No one imagined that in a few hours this boat would become their entire world. The first warning wasn't dramatic. The wind changed. Small waves started slapping the hull. Clouds smudged the edges of the sky. Tommy glanced up, then back at the engine. He said, "We go back now." He turned the boat toward the main island and pushed the engine harder. Then, one wave arrived slightly higher, slightly heavier, at exactly the wrong angle. Marta didn't see it rise, she felt it. The boat lurched sideways, a wall of water slammed over them, soaking bags, knocking them off balance, filling the boat. She gasped, swallowed salt water, felt bodies slam into each other. For a moment, it felt like the boat might flip. It didn't, but when the water drained out, everything was different. The food bag was gone. Most of their drinking water was washed overboard. One phone dead, the other soaked. The radio, too damaged to use. Tommy fought to start the engine. Pull, choke, pull, nothing. The clouds thickened. Rain came hard and fast. By the time the sky cleared, it was already too late. The engine was silent. Land was nowhere to be seen. The holiday ended right there. The drift began. At first, they still believed in rescue. "Someone will notice," David said. "When we don't come back, they'll send boats." They rationed what little they had left. A small bottle of water, some snacks that survived in a backpack. Night dropped like a curtain. No city lights, no coast glow, just black ocean and a sky full of stars. The boat rocked in the dark. Every splash sounded like a threat. No one really slept. Day 2 was hotter. Their lips began to crack. The water bottle got lighter. They argued quietly about whose sips were too big. Tommy blamed himself. "I should have checked the forecast again," he muttered. By day 3, their food was gone. Their last drops of fresh water were shared slowly, held in their mouths like treasure before swallowing. Hunger hurts, but thirst attacks your mind. Tongues swelled, thoughts slowed. The idea of drinking seawater became a whisper in the back of their heads. That afternoon, they saw their first ship. Huge, beautiful, powerful. They stood up, waved towels and shirts, screamed until their throats burned. David held up his phone, trying to flash sunlight off the glass. For a moment, it looked like the ship might turn. It didn't. It kept going, leaving them behind with nothing but its waves rocking their tiny boat. The worst part wasn't that no one came. The worst part was knowing someone could have and didn't see them. Night again. The water around them glowed with tiny sparks of blue, the light of plankton disturbed by the boat. And then, the sea started throwing them a lifeline. Flying fish. Silver bodies shooting through the air like bullets with wings. Some skimmed the surface and vanished. A few misjudged and slammed into the boat. One landed inside, flapping on the boards. Back home, food came on plates and menus. Here, food looked back at them. Marta grabbed it. Her hands shook. She thought, I can't eat this. Then she thought, if I don't, what's my plan instead? That night, under a sky that looked like it was cracked with stars, they ate their first raw fish. It tasted awful and amazing. It tasted like one more day of being alive. But even with fish, their biggest problem wasn't food. It was water. The sea around them looked so tempting. Just scoop and drink, but they knew that was a trap. Salt water would destroy them faster. That's when Marta remembered something strange. Not a survival course. Not a YouTube tutorial. A movie. A scene of a castaway making water from the ocean using plastic in the sun. She explained it. If we can't drink the sea, maybe we can drink its steam. They only had scraps. A plastic bag, a cracked phone screen, small containers. They poured a little seawater into the bag, rigged it into a cone shape over a container, and left it in the sun. Hours passed. The bag heated up. Then finally, tiny droplets formed on the inside and slid down into the container. Their freshwater factory made only a few drops at a time, barely a fingertip's worth. But those drops were not salty. They were proof that they could steal life from the ocean, one tiny decision at a time. That became their new job. At night, catch fish. By day, protect their fragile water still and chase every drop. The same sun that was burning them was now also helping them survive. By day 6, their bodies were shadows of themselves. By day 7, it was their minds that began to drift. Armella started talking to people who weren't there. She pointed at the empty horizon and told her mother, who lived far away on land, how beautiful the sea was. Tommy sat in the stern, staring at nothing, repeating, "My fault, my guests, my staff." Marta's faults looped in small circles, her parents, her apartment, the simple act of turning on a tap and watching water pour out. She pictured them getting a phone call saying she'd vanished at sea. That hurt more than the sunburn. Then came another ship. Closer than before, they repeated the ritual, waving, shouting, flashing the phone glass. Again, nothing. The ship slid away. The wake rocked their boat gently, like nothing important had happened. That night, Marta sat at the bow and for the first time seriously thought about stopping. Stopping the water still. Stopping the fish. Stopping the fight. Just lying down and letting the sea decide. But behind her, she could hear the others breathing. Weak, ragged, but still there. If she stopped, they would stop. Dying, she realized, would be easy. Staying alive was the hard work. She chose the hard work. Day 9 started like every other, heat, pain, and an empty horizon. Then late morning, something appeared. Smaller than the big ships, lower in the water. A fishing boat. This time they didn't assume it would come closer. Hope had already hurt them too many times. Marta did quick, tired math in her head. If they stayed still, the fishing boat might pass just out of sight. If they tried too hard, they might flip their own fragile boat. She made a decision. All in, we use everything. She turned them into a team again. David and Armella, stand and wave anything they could. Shirts, towels, arms. Tommy, keep the boat balanced. Marta, angle the phone screen in anything reflective, stabbing flashes of sunlight towards the distant boat. They screamed until their throats were raw. The boat rocked dangerously. For a terrible minute, it looked like nothing was happening. Then the fishing boat changed direction. Slowly, deliberately, growing larger, closer, real. Voices shouted in a language they didn't understand. A rope flew across the gap. Rough hands grabbed their arms and pulled them up out of the small fiberglass shell that had been their home, their prison, and their coffin all at once.
The deck of the fishing boat felt impossibly solid. The smell of diesel and fish and sweat was the best smell Marta had ever known. For the first time in 10 days, someone else was carrying their weight. They had made it. Back in the city, everything was noise and light. Ambulances, reporters, family members crying and laughing at the same time. Doctors listed the damage like a checklist: dehydration, burns from the sun, exhaustion. But no organ failure, no permanent injuries, just bodies pushed to their limits and somehow still working. Newspapers called it a miracle. Comment sections wrote, "So lucky. God was with them." Yes, luck mattered. Luck that the boat didn't flip. Luck that flying fish were around. Luck that one fishing crew on that one morning looked twice at a strange dot on the horizon.
But the rest wasn't luck. Luck didn't force raw fish past a gag reflex. Luck didn't turn a plastic bag into a water machine. Luck didn't make them stand up and wave one more time instead of lying down to die. That was something quieter. The decision, repeated every hour, not to stop trying. Most of us will never be lost at sea, but we all have seasons where we feel invisible, where we're shouting for help and the world sails past. In those moments, Marta's story leaves us with one simple rule of life. Grit is hope that refuses to listen to the clock. As long as you're still here, as long as you can think of one more small thing to try, the story isn't over yet.